Good morning, my friends. Happy Monday. I apologize for any noise in the background. Oscar is chewing on a bone. Good morning. It is 5 to 9 in the morning. I'm on a break from work currently, and I needed to start this vlog. So this week, what we've got going on is I'm going to be trying to get to the end of Archenemies by Marissa Meyer. This is one of my big goals for this week. I'm currently on the second chapter. I'm a little behind on my reading schedule, but it's honestly super doable. This month's reading schedule is much easier to attain than last month's because there's not as much chaos going on. This is also going to be for my Wheel of D20 video, and I have a review I'm going to make for this as well. So I'm not going to say too many of my thoughts in this vlog or in my Wheel of D20 vlog, just because I'm going to be doing a separate review of it. But then I also want to read my other Wheel of D20 book for this month, my final one. I'm already on book 2 of 3, basically, but the third one is The Mothers by Bennett. This one I should hopefully be done with by Thursday, and then I will also then be starting The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson and getting through a large chunk of that by Sunday. So I'm going to be finishing 2 books, but then having a third one carry over into next week, which will be more than okay. That's just kind of how my reading schedule panned out. I also have a lot of videos I still have to edit, or I say a lot, I have 2 videos I still have to edit.
Hi guys, it's just after 9:30 in the morning on Thursday. I'm on a break from work. I have an awful cold sore that I've had since Sunday. That's like in the last stages of healing, basically. Now it's kind of just like a scab. This is basically how my week has gone with this. It's just been a pretty crappy week. So I shouldn't say crappy. It's not a great mental health week. It hasn't really been for a while. And I feel like I need to address something that I've been meaning to talk about for a while, but haven't really had the chance to, because first of all, I don't want people to worry. Second of all, I don't necessarily feel like I always want to share everything that goes on. Nothing like awful. It's just mostly my mental health has been basically burned out, in all honesty, for probably the last 2 years and some change. Because I feel like I'm finally in a place to accept that a lot of the burnout I feel is that I do it to myself. I had a very long conversation with my husband last night about the fact that I fake a lot of how I feel. I mask it a lot because I don't want people to worry. But then I also become very uncommunicative because I don't want people to worry. I don't talk about what I feel. I don't talk about how I'm just feeling like I'm constantly drowning and I'm constantly overwhelmed. And I saw something this morning from another booktuber who I love. I absolutely adore her content. Saw her post on one of her Instagram stories about the fact that social media is very curated. And I've known that is a concept I have been very much aware of for a long time, because I definitely curate my content I put out to everybody. I might talk about things here and there about how, I might not be having the greatest mental health week, but I don't really go further into it. And I feel like right now I need to address the fact that I am just always overwhelmed and I never feel like I'm on top of anything. Some of you guys might notice that my videos become very sporadic. And that's because I get to points in my life where I cannot get myself to do anything. I have no motivation to do anything. I get tired at the end of the day after I finish work and I don't want to do anything. I don't want to read. I don't want to do anything video-wise. I don't feel like I get enough time in the day to do anything I want, when in reality I do. I just constantly feel like I can never do anything for myself, which it's not true. I feel like that I put so much pressure on myself that it then makes me feel like I can't do everything, so then I don't even do anything to begin with, and then I feel guilty about it, and then it's a vicious cycle. On top of that, I can be very selfish with my time. I definitely don't think that I structure my time well to where I can even enjoy time with my husband without feeling like I am guilty of not doing something else. There's this very big knot of things that all involve this idea of me trying to just basically do everything and not wanting to tell anybody that I'm doing all these things, that it's very confusing to try to talk about because I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start with why, I believe I'm selfish in a lot of ways with my time. I don't know where to start when talking about the fact that I feel like I have to do everything because nobody else is going to do it for me, when in reality that's not true. I just have to talk about it, but I'm afraid to talk about it because I'm afraid of looking like I can't do everything, and then I feel helpless, and it's a big knot of a lot of things, and it is one of the biggest struggles when it comes to my anxiety that I deal with. When I get very overwhelmed and anxious, I shut off. I shut down. Nobody can really seem to figure out what's wrong with me because I don't tell them, and it's because I don't want to tell people, but I need to. It was kind of one of the reasons I had to start therapy in the first place in 2020, and I thought that with ending therapy at the beginning of this year that had gone away for the most part, but it really hadn't. I was really in a lot of ways masking. I've been masking, I think, honestly, almost my entire life, and I am sick of it. I have reached a point where I am sick of trying to act as if everything is fine and it's not. So what am I gonna do to change that? That's the big question. First of all, I need to be more communicative with my husband, with my family, with my friends. I need to allow myself the ability to ask for help. Because the biggest thing for me is that I don't let myself ask for help. I have a hard time with doing that. I have ever since I was a child. I have always had a hard time asking for help with anything. And it's because I don't want to look like I can't handle things. But it's not that I can't handle things, it's that I have too many things on my plate that either I want to do or I need to do that I can't do everything by myself. Namely, one of the things is upkeep with the house. The house is a mess, truthfully. I've gotten lazy because I do the bare minimum because I don't want to ask for help. My husband is very good to me, and he will do things when he has his days off that I just let kind of go. He's the one that will fold the laundry because I hate folding laundry. I am fine with doing the laundry, putting it in the washer and the dryer. I am fine with putting it away because I know where stuff goes, but I hate folding laundry, and he will be the one to fold laundry because he hates putting it away because he doesn't know where anything goes. He will also cook dinner. He will also take care of the dishes. He will also do any amount of things that I ask him to do, but I don't ask him because I don't want it to seem like I just sit here and don't do anything to upkeep the house. And I can't keep doing that. I can't. I have to give myself the ability to ask him to do things for me. So one of the ways I want to be communicative is to say, hey, here's what I want to do tonight. Like tonight, I want to edit one last video that I've had sitting in my drafts on my laptop for probably better part of a week. Okay, I want to do that after dinner. Can you do these things for me? Can you fold the laundry while I do that? And then I will put all the laundry away. And actually put it away and not just leave it on the floor for another 2 weeks before it's actually put away. Can you do this while can you watch Oscar while I do that? And then we can trade off, where after I'm done with the video, then you can go fold the laundry and I'll keep an eye on it. I basically need to let myself ask him to do things that he already will do. I just have to tell him what he needs to do. And I also need to allow myself the ability to take the time I need for myself. Because there's also points where when I go to do something that I want to do, like edit a video, read, even just take a shower, for God's sake, I feel guilty because I'm leaving my husband with the puppy for however long, and that's too much because Oscar can get to a point sometimes where with his energy, he is a little much. And that's just because he's a puppy. He still has a lot of energy. You know, he's going on 5 months old. He's got a lot of energy to spend. And a lot of times when Robert is home from work, that is his playtime. That is what he wants to do. After I get done with work, he hangs out with Dad and he runs around and he wants to play because that's what he does. That's what he does as a puppy, because most of the time he sleeps all day. Now, not so much because he's got a little bit of energy, so he wants to chew on his bone. But my point being that, like, I feel guilty leaving him with the puppy because, you know, he can be a lot to deal with when he's super energetic. But that's not even really what's happening. It's like I shouldn't have to feel guilty about having Robert watch our puppy because it's our puppy. It's not my dog. It's not just my dog. You know, he's both of ours. We both have a responsibility to take care of him. I'm ready to allow myself to ask for that help that I need. I'm at a point in my life where I no longer feel like I have to hide the fact that there's a lot of stuff going on every day. There's a lot of things I want to do. There's a lot of things I want to do with my husband. And I have to be willing to compromise with him on what exactly we do every day. So if I spend the night tonight editing a video after dinner, tomorrow we do something together. I feel like today I've had the best mental health day I have in a while. Like, I actually feel good because I feel like that with the talk I had with him last night, I understand why I've been feeling the way I've been feeling. And I feel like I understand what I need to do to make myself feel better, and then therefore feel like I can function as a human being anymore. Because I haven't been able to function, I feel like, as a human being for the better part of, oh God, I don't even know. I feel like I've been coasting for the last 2 years, basically. And that's not okay. And it's just basically caused me to feel like I can't do anything without feeling like I'm letting somebody down. Anyway, I feel like I needed to talk about that with you guys because I have really just not been 100% honest with everybody about how things are going. And I feel like I need to be a little bit more transparent with you guys than I feel like I have been. I'm doing better. I feel like I know what I need to do. It's taken me a long time to get here, but I'm happy that I'm finally at this point, and I feel like that this is giving me the kick in the ass to make sure that I don't overwhelm myself anymore, because I'm tired of feeling overwhelmed. Anyway, as far as reading updates, let's go on to something a little bit different. As far as reading updates, I haven't really read much. I've read a few chapters here and there of Archenemies, but I haven't really picked it up fully because I've been not in the right headspace to focus on it. I do think tonight that along with editing, I'm going to try to get through a chunk of it. I think that at some point today, I would like to maybe during my lunch take some time to read it. I have a lot of stuff going on with work right now that I can't really focus on it during my breaks because I'm just kind of like, I have a lot of work to do, so I want something mindless to watch while I work and on my breaks. So I think during my lunch break, though, I will get started with reading some of Archenemies and getting through that. and then tonight edit the last video I need to edit, get all of those videos uploaded and scheduled, and then probably sit and read. So that's kind of my plan for right now, but wanted to let you guys know that this is kind of what I've been dealing with. Hopefully this weekend I can get some ground made up with reading because I don't have anything really going on. The only thing is Saturday, Robert is going to a baseball game with his dad, and then I think my mom is coming over. Anyway, I need to get back to work and get some stuff figured out because I have another meeting. I have a meeting in like 10 minutes. So I will talk to all you guys later. So reading did not happen this afternoon like I wanted. However, I finally got myself to where I am down to one last thing on my to-do list. It has been a day of nothing but pure freaking chaos. Stuff's not working. 5 million things need to be done all at the same time. It feels like I'm out of breath sitting here because of all the work I've been doing for the last little bit. But I'm down to my last thing on my to-do list, which is very quick. And then I think I can finally relax for the rest of the day and just do little things here and there with work. And I even got a cup of water. I don't do that. I don't drink water very often. But I'm trying to be better about taking care of myself because I haven't at all. I do not prioritize my health in any way. So this is a start. A cup of water. Do it. I also did spend a little bit of time this afternoon talking to my sister, which was really nice because I haven't really been able to talk to her very much in the last handful of days. And she's been wanting me to play Animal Crossing with her, but I haven't really had the time. And so she decided to call me at the end of my lunch break so that she could like say hi, and she was getting ready to go to an interview. So yeah, it was really nice just to be able to talk to my sister today. And I think I might try to talk to my mom at some point today too, because I think she's been having a bit of a rough day herself. So it would be really nice to be able to sit and chat with her. But yeah, I'm gonna sit here, go on my break from work for a little bit and relax, watch some videos, finish up what I gotta do for work, and then just sit and chill. Because good God, after today and after the last handful of days, I need a break. Hey guys, so it's Friday evening. It is going on, I think it's actually after 5:30 now that I'm speaking. Yes, it's after 5:30 in the evening. And so far I haven't done a whole heck of a lot of reading, but I think that this weekend I'm gonna spend a lot of time doing that. So I have been making more progress in Archenemies. I'm on page 130 something, I think. I've been doing a lot more reading today because today was a lot slower in terms of work, so I had more time to breathe. I'm on page 132. So currently on chapter 13. And I think I'm enjoying this one about as much as I think I did the first time. I will say that I feel like that this one is a little slower in terms of the buildup of the story because really, like, there's not a ton of plot happening at this current moment. There's just some things that have been kind of brought up that I definitely think play further on in the story, as opposed to kind of how in the first book things really picked up quickly with the fact that Nova was going to be infiltrating the team, whereas Archenemies, she's been a part of this team now for several months, and there's really only so much that you can really say in terms of the activities that are done. And then the biggest thing about this plot is that there is a kind of new development to try and eradicate the villains that cause massive problems involving this kind of like medication called Agent N. And that I think is more so the plot of this, but I feel like now looking at this for the second time, there's not a ton of plot that is like set in stone. There's a lot of threads, and it's a matter of seeing those threads come together in this book, which is probably why some people didn't care for this one, because I think that with the typical thing with middle book syndrome is that there's usually a lot of plot threads that get brought up that do have something to do with what happens at the very end of the series, if it's like a trilogy, for instance. But those plot threads don't really develop into anything because they only really have so much substance in the second book. Like the things that happen in the second book can't really be resolved until book 3. But I am enjoying it so far. I think it definitely doesn't pack as big of a punch so far as Renegades does. And I think that that's because, too, Renegades has a very kind of bombastic style in the sense that the whole thing is watching Nova go through and experience the renegade side of things for like the very first time ever, and seeing it through her eyes, everything is new, bright, and shiny, whereas Archenemies, like I said, she's been there for a while. We've seen everything there is to see for the most part. There's new things that are coming up that she is able to experience, but she's kind of gotten the hang of being in a part of the Renegades for a while now, so nothing is as shiny as it was starting out with. So I think that that's another thing that aids in the kind of lessened nature that is Archenemies so far. And like I said, I'm now like getting on to being like almost through the first third of this, so I think that that's going to change. But I think that tonight what I'd like to do when Robert gets home and after we have dinner is I'm going to take a shower, do a facial, have a little bit of a self-care night, and I'm going to be staying up in my library for the rest of the evening and reading as much as I can. I would like to be able to finish Archenemies this weekend and also try to get through the entirety of the Mothers, because I was meant to get through those both this week and I haven't. And then I would like to be able to start the Well of Ascension by the end of the weekend, because I'm supposed to have got through a lot of that going into next week. But I don't know how that's going to pan out. It really depends on how much time I can spend getting Archenemies done, because I think especially if I can get a good chunk of it done tonight, I can finish it tomorrow, get through the entirety of the Mothers, which is not super long. It's less than 300 pages, so it can fly by pretty quick. And then maybe Sunday start the Well of Ascension, or maybe Saturday night start it, depending on how I'm feeling. If I feel like I've read too much, we'll kind of see how that goes. But that's kind of my plan for this weekend, is to really get myself caught up as best as I can, and going into the start of next week, getting caught up with the Well of Ascension, and also editing this vlog and hopefully my April D20 reads, because if I finish the Mothers, I'll have completed my Wheel of D20 books for the month, and I can get that vlog out sometime in the next, like within this next week. I'm going to, I think, go ahead and start dinner, because I think Robert's going to be home soon, and I haven't started dinner yet because I wasn't super hungry, but I think that if I start dinner, I'll start getting hungry. So we'll get that taken care of and then get on with the evening. All right, y'all, it is 8:37. I have just finished organizing the library, which, you guys, this is kind of ridiculous how much I have that does not fit on my shelves. We're not going to talk about that, but I have a glass of wine, got my book, I've got the audiobook right here with me as well. I have my highlighters for annotating, and I have my tabs in here with my book to tab as I go, and extra tabs sitting behind this box of tissues that's in front of me. I am ready for a night of reading. So I'm going to sit here and read for the next couple of hours, I think, before bed. And then however far I get is however far I get. And tomorrow we will finish the book. According to the audiobook, I have just under 10.5 hours of the book left. I'm almost a third of the way through. I think I can get to probably, 40% maybe. That's a pretty good estimate. And then finish it up tomorrow. So let's get going, shall we?
I've been lying here for too long. I don't know what else to do. I wanna get away from every little thing just to try to make it through. I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead.
Hey guys, happy Saturday. It is going on 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Last night I did get basically to 40% of the way through Archenemies, which was my goal, but I got to about just over 200 pages, I think, something like that. But I have spent most of the day so far with my mom, because my mom ended up coming over earlier today because we forgot that there was a surprise party for one of my cousins. I was unfortunately not able to go because Robert was going to be out today, and I had completely forgotten that her surprise party was today. I also just finished watching the end of the live show for Mistborn that Princess, Brandy, Brit, and Bonnie were hosting. I only ended up catching like the last maybe half hour of it because my mom was here till about 3:30. So yeah, I didn't get to actually really participate much in it, but it was really cool to hear, because I think like by the end of it they were talking about like Brandon Sanderson's Kickstarter and things regarding the Cosmere, like things that are linking to the Cosmere in anticipation for the next book, which is the Well of Ascension. Should be starting that here probably next week, beginning of next week kind of thing. But I'm going to sit here before I have sprints tonight and work on more of Archenemies, because Robert is still out at the baseball game. I think when my mom was leaving, it was the bottom of the 6th inning, so they should be getting done in the next handful of hours. And then it's going to take at least an hour and a half for Robert to get home. So I think that by the time I'm in sprints, he will be on his way home, if not already home. I have a feeling that I probably will not finish Archenemies until tonight during sprints, which is fine. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. I can't really change much of it. But at the very least, what I could do is get through that, and then tomorrow start on the Mothers, get through that, and then start maybe the Well of Ascension during sprints with Princess, if she's hosting them tomorrow. I don't know if she's going to, because of the fact that she hosted the live show today. So I don't know. We'll see if she does, but if not, I'll just do my own sprints. Hey guys, so it is now about 2:15 in the afternoon, and I finally finished Renegades. So I'm very happy to say that this is done. I've been kind of stuck on this one for a few days because my mental health has just not been the greatest, but I enjoyed every second of this, gave it 5 out of 5 stars. There is going to be a review for this separate, so I will go more into my thoughts on it there, but some of my thoughts initially are in my Wheel of D20 video. I just really enjoy this. I think that like it really sets a different tone than what Renegades does. And I feel like that I just really enjoy the intensity that there is within this one based on the plot threads we get from the first book that get explained more in this. But Robert is just now arriving home with Oscar from going on a walk, so I gotta get going, and I will see all of you guys later. Good morning, everybody. It is just after 10 a.m. on Monday, and I have to still close out this vlog from the week before. So last night I ended up getting through about 53% of the way through the Mothers by Brit Bennett. Whoa, I have already had too much caffeine, I think, today. I don't even know how. But anyway, so today I'm gonna try to finish that. But so far, the Mothers, it's interesting because, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say too much because I do want to talk about it more in my Wheel of D20 vlog, but I really enjoy, I think, the multi-layered idea of being mothers, like, because this story focuses more so on a couple different people. It's kind of like 3 people basically that are involved in like a love V formation, which in particular though, it follows more so 2 of the 3, but the 3rd person is really kind of still important. So the story follows a young woman who, she's like 17 at the start of the story, and it follows over the course of several years. But when she's 17, she ends up getting involved with a young man who's a pastor's child, and she lives basically in San Diego. Her dad's a Marine. Mom basically, shortly before the events of the story, killed herself, and so she's been dealing with a lot of the grief that surrounds that. But in order to kind of, I guess, escape the grief, she starts up a relationship with this pastor's child. He's 21 basically at this point of the story. And for a few months they, you know, hook up, all these things, and she then gets pregnant and then decides to abort the child when they're like 8 weeks pregnant, basically. So the story starts out where it's them trying to hide this secret of having had the abortion and all these things. And then the story kind of continues where you see these 2 characters grow up. You see that the person that basically she was with has his own battles, his own demons, things that are kind of below the surface. And you also get the perspective of another girl that the main character Nadia befriends, whose name is Aubrey. And Aubrey has a lot of, family issues as well. She has a lot of similar things in terms of how she feels about her own mother. She has like a whole different relationship with her than Nadia does with her mother, but like they befriend each other very quickly, and it's kind of this exploration of this idea of growing up, and I think in their specific situation, and to also note with this, it's in an all-black community where in this part of San Diego, they all attend, this church together. That's how they all know each other. They all attend the same church, and the mothers, it indicates a group of older women who are basically like the elders of the church, and the story in a lot of ways is narrated in a sense where like they talk about the things that they see from their perspective. So they all essentially have their own perspective of how things happened. But then you delve into, after the first like few paragraphs of each chapter, the actual story through the perspective of the characters Nadia, Aubrey, and the male protagonist whose name is Luke. And it's interesting because I think, like I said, there's a multi-layered idea with mothers involved in this, because not only do you have the mothers of the church, you have two characters who have very differing relationships with their own mothers, different problems that they have with their own mothers. You also have Luke, who has another very different relationship with his mother. On top of that, you have Nadia, who was an expecting mother who then decided to abort her fetus. And so there's like a lot of complexity involved in that, not only from the decision making of that, but then also the things that she then learns about herself as she gets older and about her mother, and exactly how she got pregnant with Nadia and how that really changed a lot of her mother's life plan. And it's really just an interesting exploration on the idea of how not only is there a lot to do with motherhood, but also in a lot of ways about growing up in a community where, there's this kind of set ideal, this set standard, and how your decisions really affect not just yourself, but how they affect how your community views you, how your community views itself, how you view the community that you come from. Because Nadia is able to basically escape, in a sense, from this environment that she grew up in when she goes to college, and it really puts a lot of things in perspective for her that you see over the course of this book. It's just very interesting how there's a lot of different layers involved with this that I think do deal with motherhood, and in a sense, the idea that, we as people, when we're growing up, we become very attached in a lot of ways, like we do to our mothers when we're children, to these communities where we feel safe. We feel that, we have to follow in these footsteps. And for some people, they disdain this society that they've, lived in for most of their lives. And so when they decide to leave the nest as it is, it causes some kind of repercussions, whether it's, negative, positive, whatever the case may be, for themselves, for their families, whatever it is. It's just very interesting to look at the story in a different kind of light than I think is typical, because this is a literary fiction piece and it's very difficult to kind of talk about, because literary fiction for me tends to be something where a lot of the concepts tend to go over my head. But for some reason with this one, I just feel like I'm able to look at a lot of the details very, very well. And I feel like this is the first literary fiction piece that I feel like I understand all the nuances that are being brought up. Now, I can't speak to the Black experience that is brought up in this book, obviously, because I am not a Black person, but it does raise some interesting questions where I would like to, talk with some of my Black viewers and subscribers and friends about the idea of, especially in a very religious upbringing within a Black community, because there's some things about the way that they discuss things like purity culture, and also the idea of, dating within your own kind of community. How does that, how true is that to how they live their own lives if they've grown up in those situations. I feel like though my one criticism of it is I am not a fan of the writing style, and I think that this is pretty typical with literary fiction for me as a genre, where the writing is supposed to be very lyrical, but I think that that is usually what makes it more difficult for me to absorb the concepts that are being brought up in literary fiction. So I think that this is not necessarily just an issue with Brit Bennett's writing, but I think in general with literary fiction as a whole, which I think that that's a pretty common problem for a lot of people, and why people don't tend to read as much literary fiction as something like YA or more kind of genre specific kinds of books, because I feel like that with literary fiction, it's kind of one of those things where it seems very highbrow for a lot of people, but it's not. It's just that the way that the writing is it's supposed to be very lyrical, very beautiful, but because of that, the messages kind of get hidden because we're not really able to fully wrap our heads around all of the concepts within the lyrical writing, because it's like you're paying so much to the details of the writing that you're missing the bigger picture of the whole story. I do want to place then also trigger warnings for things like rape, sexual assault, obviously abortion, if that is a trigger for you in any capacity. Also, there is triggers for suicide, like I said, because the main character's mother does kill herself. That is very upfront in the beginning of the book. Also a trigger for long-lasting injuries like disability, basically, because there's a character, Luke specifically, who upfront we learned that he was a football star and had a very severe accident during a game, and it basically caused him to then therefore have a limp for pretty much the rest of his life because his leg was very damaged. I think if there is a trigger in terms of religious upbringing, things with purity culture that are triggering for you, I would definitely, go into it with that mindset, just because I know there are some people who, removing themselves from Christianity, are very traumatized by the things that, they may have experienced in their own churches or communities. And so if that is of any, importance to you, be aware that there's a lot of going on in the story surrounding around that. I feel like that this is a story that can transcend to various groups of people, not just a Black community, but I'm not going to take away from the fact that this is a very much Black experience story, and there are various nuances that I think pertain very particularly to a Black community. Like if you are someone of the Black community that grew up in an environment that is similar to this, I feel like you will relate more to it than something I would. I appreciate reading from the perspective of these characters. It's not something I'm familiar with, which is why it's interesting to me, but that's because I have no experience with this. So take what I say about the things that happen in this with a grain of salt, because I am not somebody who is well versed in any of this stuff. So if you're somebody who is a Black reviewer and you have read this, please tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I would really appreciate hearing what you guys have to say on this, because I feel like I can only express so much of my opinion because it is not of a community I am from. So I would really appreciate any reviewers out there that are Black, that are, that relate in a lot of ways to what this book talks about, if you would be willing to share your thoughts on it, because I think it would definitely be of interest. I think it's definitely important that I, include the opinions and the thoughts of others that are more centralized in the experience with this book. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say for right now. And I know I just talked a lot about that I probably should have saved for my Wheel of D20 vlog, but I definitely think I'm just going to repeat a lot of this in that video when I finally finish the book. So we'll see. But anyway, I gotta get going. I gotta finish up my break here and just basically get on with the rest of my day. And I have to start the vlog for next week. So thank you all so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you'd like to be and would like to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys.